Up to 11 Arsenal players might miss the upcoming Bournemouth clash, with the worst-case scenario being revealed. This could lead Mikel Arteta to rely on a £100k per week Arsenal star following 2 injury scares. Additionally, Arsenal has been informed that they could sign a dangerous striker admired by Ian Wright for half the price. Stay with me until the end of the video to check out the latest Arsenal news straight from the Emirates Stadium. But before that, if you're as passionate about Arsenal as we are, don't waste any time and subscribe to our channel right now to stay updated on everything happening with the greatest team in the Premier League. And without further ado, let's dive into today's top news. Arsenal has had a rough run of injuries since the beginning of the 2024-25 season. When fully fit, Mikel Arteta's squad is one of the strongest in the Premier League, but he's had to make do without several key players over the last couple of months. Despite that, the Gunners have been performing well, staying just 1 point behind the top of the table, which shows how strong they are. They're in a solid position right now, but there's still the risk that injuries could mess up their season as it goes on. If things really take a turn for the worse before the match against Bournemouth, Arteta might even face the challenge of fielding an entire legion of missing players. Arsenal has been hit with a bunch of injury problems lately, though there's a chance a few players might make a comeback in time for the Bournemouth game. But if things don't go as hoped, as many as 11 players could be unavailable for selection. Here's the list of who could miss out. Neto. The Brazilian is currently on loan from Bournemouth, which means he can't feature against his parent club due to the terms of the loan deal. Ben White. White's been sidelined for a while, having missed Arsenal's last 4 matches. So far, the club hasn't given any solid updates on when the defender will be back in action. Jurrien Timber. Timber picked up a muscle injury during the PSG match and then had to sit out the Southampton game. It's still uncertain whether he's fit enough to return for the next match. Takahiro Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu reportedly picked up a knee injury during his brief appearance against Southampton, which was actually his first outing of the season. It's not clear how serious the injury is, but it could keep him out. Kieran Tierney. Although Tierney was named in Arsenal's squads for both the Premier League and Champions League, he hasn't featured yet due to an injury that's kept him sidelined since before the season even kicked off. Thomas Partey. Partey pulled out of Ghana's squad during the international break because he was feeling unwell. It's expected that he'll be fit soon, but in a worst-case scenario, he could end up missing this weekend's game. Alexander Zinchenko. Zinchenko hasn't featured for Arsenal since late August. Arteta mentioned that the Ukrainian might be back after the international break if all goes well, but if that plan doesn't work out, he'll be sitting out the Bournemouth clash. Martin Odegaard. Odegaard picked up a tough ankle injury during September's international break and has been out since. He's not expected to be fit in time for Saturday's game. Bukayo Saka. Saka had to leave the England camp early due to what looked like a hamstring issue. There's a chance he might not recover in time and could be forced to miss this match. Kai Havertz. Havertz pulled out of the Germany squad during the international break because of a knee injury. If he hasn't fully healed, it's likely he won't be available for the game against Bournemouth. Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli was injured while on duty with Brazil, causing him to miss their match against Peru. His availability for the Bournemouth game is still uncertain, making him another potential absentee. If all 11 of those players are ruled out for the game against Bournemouth on Saturday, Arsenal will definitely find themselves in a tough spot. While having a deep squad is crucial for covering injuries and absences, no team in the world is ready for a situation where 11 players are unavailable. That's a challenge no one can truly be prepared for, but if the worst case scenario hits, Arteta will have no choice but to adapt. Here's a possible lineup he could go with under these circumstances. Arsenal's potential worst case one-twin versus Bournemouth: Raya, Calafiori, Saliba, Gabriel, Kivior, Jorginho, Rice, Nwaneri, Sterling, Trossard. Jesus, it's not an ideal situation, but Arteta would have to get creative with what's left of the squad. Mikel Arteta could now start pound 100k a week Arsenal ace versus Bournemouth after double injury scare. Arteta might be facing a couple of serious headaches ahead of Arsenal's game against Bournemouth on Saturday. Bukayo Saka had to return to North London early after picking up a hamstring issue during international duty, while Gabriel Martinelli also picked up a calf injury while with Brazil. There's a real possibility that Arsenal could be missing one or even both of these key players against Bournemouth, which would be a huge setback. If that happens, it could pave the way for Raheem Sterling to get a rare Premier League start. The English winger, who came to Arsenal on a season-long loan deal right at the transfer deadline, started in the match against Southampton just before the international break. Sterling looked impressive in that game, and with both Saka and Martinelli potentially sidelined, the Chelsea loanee offers some valuable versatility on either wing. Sterling, who pulls in £100,000 a week at Arsenal, played on the left against Southampton. If Saka is unable to go for the Bournemouth match, it'd be interesting to see the former Manchester City star take up a position on the right flank instead. His pace and creativity could really make a difference in breaking down Bournemouth's defense. Who else could start if both Martinelli and Saka are ruled out? Arsenal would take a huge hit if both Martinelli and Saka end up missing the game against Bournemouth. There's a real possibility that it could happen. While Sterling can definitely step in to cover for one of them, Arsenal will need someone to fill in on the other side as well. Leandro Trossard is a potential option, but he's been fantastic when playing more centrally. This could create an opportunity for Gabriel Jesus to step back into the lineup, either as a number 9 or out on the wing. The Brazilian hasn't looked like his usual self for quite some time, but we all know how unstoppable he can be when he's at his best. If both Saka and Martinelli are out, this could be a golden chance for Jesus to reignite his Arsenal career and show what he's truly capable of. Arsenal told they can sign dangerous forward Ian Wright loves for half price in January. During the summer, Arsenal was linked to various forwards across Europe, players who could bring that extra spark to Mikel Arteta's attack. In the end, they opted to bring in Raheem Sterling on deadline day, a move that wasn't originally on their radar at the start of the summer. But as their other options fell through, Sterling became available on loan for a fantastic deal, and he's got the credentials to back it up, being a 4-time Premier League champion. That said, it's still unclear whether Arteta sees a long-term role for the 29-year-old at the Emirates, especially considering his hefty wage. The decision on Sterling's future could depend heavily on how he performs in the coming months. Ademola Lookman open to a new challenge, and his asking price has been slashed. If Arteta decides against making a permanent move for Sterling, Arsenal had shown interest in Ademola Lookman during the summer. Lookman has been shining in Serie A since leaving England, and he recently put on a dangerous performance against Arsenal in the Champions League, which likely piqued the Gunners' interest even further. On that note, journalist Florian Plettenberg has shared some intriguing news on X. According to him, Lookman is open to taking on a new challenge, and a move in January could be on the cards. This could be an opportunity for Arsenal to keep an eye on as they look to bolster their squad. It was reported that Arsenal offered €50 million for Lookman in the summer, and according to Plettenberg, the winger could now move for as little as €20 million. He shared, "Ademola Lookman is still open for a new challenge. Understand that a move in winter is possible." Atalanta president Percassi blocked a transfer of the 26Y/O versatile striker this summer. Price tag for a possible move next window, Euro 25-30M, current contract valid until 2026. Ian Wright talked up Ademola Lookman before he faced Arsenal. Speaking before Arsenal faced Atalanta on his podcast, Ian Wright was very complimentary about Lookman back in September. With respect, Wright was convinced that Lookman would soon be too big for Atalanta, predicting step up in the near future. Wright said, "We've got Ben White on that side, if he's going to be on that side, and you know what? I'm pleased for him. His journey, where he's gone, what he's doing now, you could see a big move. You could see a move for him. I'd love him to stay there. He's been so good at Atalanta. The way he's worked up, all the way from Charlton, all the way to where he is now. You'd believe that Atalanta is not his final destination in his mind, as great as it can be for them. And it's not disrespectful, but like, he's got a level of playing now where you can see why people would say, I could use him." Well folks, those were the main news for today. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated on everything happening with our beloved team, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for joining us, and until the next video.